Welcome to Hispanic Biz Success Stories. I'm Homero Galicia. In this program, we interview successful Hispanic entrepreneurs who built businesses that we look at to learn from the interview their stories, their struggles, their triumphs, in the hopes that we learn from them good business principles and good principles about carrying out our life. But they're entertaining stories and good stories and educational stories. Today, we're fortunate to have with us Mr. Ricardo Cordova, who is the co-owner of Quality Food Marts. Mr. Cordova, thank you so much for taking your time.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Well, Mr. Cordova, Quality Food Marts was a neighborhood grocery chain.
Correct.
And you started in what year?
It was started in 1968.
And you sold the chain when?
I sold it. I sold my share of my partner still continued with the business, and I sold my share to him in 1996.
So basically, you were involved in the business 20 years.
Little bit, but yes, something like that.
And you had a partner.
I was a partner. We started together. We met while we were working for Food Mart, actually. Was a chain store that came out of, he's born here in El Paso by Mr. Dave McFadden. And from there, we started, I started working for them in 1940, I think it was about 1948, 47, something like that. I don't remember the exact year. I started working for them. And from there, after that, I worked for them for 3-4 years. Then I went into service, came back, started working again for them. I worked with them ever since till 1967 when I decided to. Chico and I, he came over to see me, talked to me about it. He said, see if I was interested in going into independently. And I said, yes. And from there, and then he started actually doing the process of, at that time, the Small Business Administration was opening the doors for all, for mainly Hispanics, to start a business on their own. From there, we accomplished, took us a little while, and we found out that, well, Chico already knew that Mr. Welch wanted to sell his stores. But actually, he only had one left. This one was located, it's still, the building's still there. It's in Alabama and between Federal and Wheeling Street. And then from there, that's when we went into the business. And of course, like anything else, it started, actually, it's a very hardship actually, because we had to restock the whole store.
Wow. So you started with one store?
One store.
And your partner's name?
Cecilio Medina.
And you called him?
Chico.
Chico
Because hardly anybody could pronounce his name, Cecilio.
Yeah. So let me ask you, and we'll get into the business too, but I want to ask you about your background.
Yes.
I want to, I know a little bit about your background because your father and my father were cousins.
Right.
And my grandmother grew up with your father.
Right.
And that not a lot of story we know, but one story I know about my grandmother is she didn't have any birth papers, so we didn't know what year she was born in or where she was born.
I see.
But we know that she lived here with your father since she was 3 years old. So that's all we know. So we started with that.
Yes.
But you were born in El Paso.
I was born here in El Paso.
In what neighborhood?
I was in the neighborhood of it's called Central.
Okay.
It's 2121 Central.
You really remember by Bell?
Yes, by Bell.
Bell School.
In fact, I was right across. It was very easy. In other words, we were just about a few blocks from the river. We could walk
Really?
across it. to Mexico at that time.
That was the old river
The old river, yes.
where the Chamizal is
yeah.
now. 'Cause
Right.
They moved the river.
Yes. In fact, there's for La Isla de Cordova was there.
Right. And that's why they call it Isla.
That's why I call it La Isla.
Because the water ran on both sides of it.
Right.
So it was a canal.
Actually.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was, so let me ask you about your, and then, but you moved from there, or?
Yes, we moved from there because at that time, my mother always wanted to be close to my grandmother. So they moved to Durango Street. Actually, it's close to downtown. You know, from El Paso Street is about 6 blocks going west. Anyway, we lived there because my aunt used to work for Hicks and Ponder. And we moved up over there because my mother always wanted to be close to my grandmother.
Okay, so
we're moving that
Hicks
direction.
and Ponder was right there at Cotton and Overland, right?
No, that's Hortex.
Oh, okay.
Hortex, no. Hicks and Ponder was on Santa Fe and Overland.
Okay. And that was clothing manufacturing?
Yes, it was, that was Fara, it was Hicks and Ponder, Billy the Kid was on Santa Fe, and Hicks and the other one, Hortex, was on Oregon Street.
Okay. And so what grade school and high school did you go to?
Well, I went part of it. I started out at Bell School. Then from there, we started in Franklin Street, Franklin Grammar School.
Really? Where was Franklin Grammar School?
It's right in. It's Overland, Durango, and Leon, right between.
Okay. Okay.
So it's actually right that downtown is what we call it.
Yeah.
That was. I stayed there till about the 7th grade.
Okay.
Then I went to middle school. I went to Bowie High School, Bowie Middle School. And this is something that I'm not proud of, but I left school when I didn't graduate from high school. I graduated from grade school, and then I left to work.
How old were you when you left to work?
I was about 15, 16.
Really? And what was your first work?
My first work, I was already working part-time for the Chinese on Canton Grocery on Stanton and 2nd, used to be, which is Paisano now. Right in the corner. That's where I started. I started helping one of the truck drivers. We used to do home delivery.
Yeah, they used to have home delivery. The old.
And I used to help them. So then from there, they asked me if I wanted to clean up the butcher shop. I said, yes, I'll do it. That's where I started. That's actually when I started in the meat.
Okay, so you're 15, 16 years old when you started.
Yes, when I started.
The old Chinese Canton grocery store.
Right.
Wow. And so you started cleaning the meat market.
Yes.
And you started learning meat cutting?
Yes. Then they saw me that I was able to wait on customers, see the head meat cutter there. His name, he already passed away. His name is Enrique Lopez. And he couldn't quite understand the orders that are coming in, but since I could be able to translate it for him. That's when they started teaching me how to wait on the customers and all that.
And he taught you meat cutting?
Yeah, he was the one that started me how to cut meat. Started me how to do it. Actually, he started me. At that time, there was no electric saw, so it was hand saw. So I used to do all the bones, to get practice on it, to start sewing the bones,
Wow. Did you ever cut your fingers?
I sure did. I got a lot of. There's one right there.
Wow.
There's one right there. There's a few other more.
Those are the casualties of meat cutting.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. And so So you're working there for Canton Grocery. For how long did you do that?
I stayed there for about 3 years.
Okay. And then you went to Food Mart after that?
After that, I went to Food Mart.
As a meat cutter?
As a meat cutter, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you about your father. What did you learn from your father, Jose, right? Remember?
Jose, he taught me that, in other words, first of all, clean the yard, clean myself, and do for myself. That's what I learned from him. Do everything, you have to do it for you. Do it yourself. Do it for yourself. Don't expect somebody else to do it for you. Do it for yourself.
And where did he work?
He worked for a warehouse. Paso, at that time, he worked for El Paso Fireproof. It was a warehouse, storage warehouse is what it was.
Okay, okay.
Then from there, he left, and he went to work for, no, first he went to the hospital for an hernia. So he stayed there, and then he was off for, I think it was about a month. I think he was off. He couldn't work or do anything. Anyway, then from there, he went to work for the cement plant, Portland cement plant.
Right.
Then from there, he went to work for H.A. Barron Chemicals.
Okay.
And he stayed there
Till you retired.
until he retired.
And your mother, what's her name?
Elisa Hernandez.
And what did she was a housewife?
She was a housewife.
And how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I had we were three brothers, 3 sisters. We were 3 and 3.
And I went to school with one of your sisters.
Right.
And I went to school, and then I know your brother Roger, who passed away.
Yeah, he passed.
Roger was a good friend. He
Yes.
worked at the El Paso Times.
Yes, at that time, yes.
And my father's name, my father was Isaías
Right.
Cordova. He used the word Cordova in his name. So he was Isaías Cordova Galicia.
Yes.
And they used to call him Jack, because at Bell School they wouldn't say Isaías.
No.
So he was Jack. And when I went to school, I was Homero. He named me Homero and my brother Virgilio. So
yes.
when we went to school, my brother was Virgil and I was Homer.
Oh, I see.
So what did they call you in school? Richard or?
They call me Richard.
Yeah. Okay. So you learned the meat cutting trade and you worked in that before you started the business for all the. But let me ask you about your mother. What did your mother teach? What did you learn from your mother?
My mother mainly taught me manners. You know, for instance, you know, you don't do no reading. You don't do no. You can talk, but don't talk with your mouth full. Chew well. Little manners mainly what she was teaching.
Okay.
But I learned from her my manners.
And they paid off for you.
They have in the very long, very. In other words, they helped me through life quite a bit.
So you're working as a meat cutter, and how old were you when you married?
26, I think it was.
Okay.
26, 25, something like that. I can't remember exactly.
And so you were married. How long were you married? Your wife passed away.
Yeah, my wife passed away.
How many years ago?
She passed. She's been 4 years now.
Okay.
4 years ago she passed away.
So you had a long marriage.
Very long.
And how many children?
Just one.
Okay. And where's?
He's in. He works in San Antonio, but he's living in Austin. But he travels back and forth. He's working for an engineering company out there. He told me the name of it, but I don't remember.
And you have an adopted son?
That's the one I adopted.
Okay.
The first one is out in California.
Okay. So all your children are gone.
Yes, all children are gone.
And so you liked the work. I mean, you enjoyed. You stepped into meat cutting because the opportunity was there.
Correct.
So you started by cleaning the meat cutting operation, the butcher shop, and so you stayed with that.
Yes, I stayed with that.
And you just worked hard.
I just worked hard, yes. See, at that time, there was no such thing as you punch in at 8, get off at 5. No. You work. By the time they open, by the time they close. One price, that's it.
What time did they open?
Most of the time, they were open at 7 o'clock.
And what time did they close?
Sometimes it all depends on the crowd of the store. In other words, if it was crowded at 7 o'clock, we stayed till 8.
So you'd work 12, 13 hours?
Something like that.
How many days?
7.
They were closed Sunday? Wow.
Half a day.
Half a day? You worked half a day on Sunday?
Half a day on Sundays.
So you worked 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
And how long did you do that?
For quite a few years.
Wow.
Quite a few years.
And was the pay enough?
It was comfortable. It wasn't exactly what I would say you make a good living, a decent living, let's put it that way, because don't forget that time it was very hard at my age, or my dad, credit was very hard, and houses were not, it was, the war was, they were not building houses, so actually it was.
So how old were you when you went in? You went into the Army?
No, I went into the Navy.
Into the Navy.
The Navy. In '53, I was drafted.
And so how old were you in '53?
'53, I was 25, 24.
24. So you were in the Navy.
Yes, I was in the Navy.
And they drafted you in the Navy. And what did that teach you?
That I went exactly. First of all, I went through boot camp and all that. I went through all the training from there. But since I was a meat cutter, and I was able to, they gave me some tests, and I passed those tests. I went directly into. When I went aboard the ship, I served aboard the USS Wasp, and I went directly into the meat. We had a small butcher shop aboard ship.
So you did that for your duty?
So that's what I did.
Was that aircraft carrier, the Wasp?
Aircraft carrier, yes.
Yeah. And did you serve in '53? What was that Korean War?
This Korean War, yes. Mm-hmm. See, I served in the Pacific, and then from there I got transferred. The ship got transferred to the Atlantic, so I went to the Atlantic. And from the Atlantic, when we went through South America, we went around the Horn.
Oh, all the way down.
Yeah, we didn't cross the Panama Canal. The ship was too big to go through there.
Right.
So we went around the Horn, what we call around the Horn.
Right.
And we stopped, several ports, like we stopped in Panama City, Peru, Lima, Chile.
So you saw some of the world.
Some of the world, yes.
So what did you learn in
Brazil.
the service?
Sir?
What did you learn in the service?
In the service, I learned quite a bit. In other words, more or less to from the houses, you respect somebody else at all times. Mainly because we're in the same situation that I was. So actually, I respect them more. They taught me how to be organized. You have to be well organized. I mean, you just can't. To me, that was the main thing, to get well organized.
You know what I remember about your father and your mother? They were very humble people, very honest people. I remember sometimes, I don't know if it was Sundays, they used to have get-togethers, and I was a little kid and used to go and meet them. But I loved them very much because they were very, very, very real people, And so that, with a big family, it must have been fun growing up with all your brothers and sisters.
Yes.
So, when did you think about business? Did you think that you were going to open a business? Was that ever in your mind?
It came to my mind several times. Several times I was in the mine, and in fact, I looked at certain locations that I thought I would be able to do it. I wanted to do it by myself, actually. But then my wife, she got it. We started talking about it, and then she told me, she said, "No, I don't like the idea for you going by yourself." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, you're the only one that knows the business and understands the business. But something happens to you, who's going to take care of the business?" Which to me kind of clicked on me. So that's a good idea.
She wanted some insurance.
That's true. Well, I don't blame her. She kind of, not that she doubted me, but she always figured that.
Yeah. Did she work too?
She worked too. Yes. She worked for auto parts. Used to be called Scarate Auto Parts. It was a small auto parts, and she worked there as a bookkeeper.
And so how old were you when you started thinking about business and talking about these things about opening a business?
It was about, I'd say about like around 60, 62, 63, something in that vicinity.
So at that time you'd been working for, by now it was Food Mart, right?
Food Mart, yes, Then they, what they did, they went ahead and they sold, Food Mart sold to Piggly Wiggly's. They came in and they took over the whole company, and they brought, of course, new officers and all of that. But with that, I benefit a lot from them.
From Piggly Wiggly?
From Piggly Wiggly.
They were a bigger organization?
It was a big organization. Not only that, there were more, in other words, they put us on a clock. They didn't have us work by the week for a flat salary. No, they put us on the clock.
So you began to work regular hours?
Regular hours, right.
That was a big difference after so many years.
It sure was.
So you liked that?
I enjoyed that.
So besides the meat department, did you learn other departments as well?
Yes, I learned a little bit. I learned what the packing houses, the produce, and the grocery. I learned a little bit about that. That's why when Cecilio and I got into it, he took care of the grocery department, and I took care of the meat department, and then he oversee the produce. See, he overlooked at the whole operation, in other words. And I was, actually, we incorporated, and then he was the president, I was the vice president. But we can continue working together, We were still, like for instance, when we were making a hat or stuff like that, when you put specials and all that, then we had to sit down, and I did my part, he did his part.
But you ran the business together.
We were in the business together, yes. Yeah.
And so how did that work out, that partnership?
It worked real good.
And what were his strengths?
His strengths, mainly he learned a lot because when he was Piggly Wiggly, he used to work, he was a clerk, and then from there he went to manager, and from manager he got transferred into the office.
Okay, so he knew the business side.
Yes, yeah, he knew the business side.
And you? What did you know? What were your strengths?
Well, my whole system was, I knew how to do my pricing on anything that was related to the meat. I did all my pricing. Then I turned it over to him. Then he would go over it. We both sit down, why you do this or why you do that. Then we start.
In a grocery store in those days, the meat market, what percentage of the grocery business was meat? Was it half the business, a quarter of the business?
No, it was mostly about, at that time, about 20%.
Okay.
20, 21, that was a part of the business. But what it did, it's actually, see, that's the main reason why nowadays they don't do it, but some of them still do it. That's why the meat department is always on the back, for a simple reason, is so the customer can walk the store. That's why the meat is in the back.
Because people need the meat.
Mm-hmm. Everything is based on the meat.
It is. So it's an anchor to the store.
It's an anchor to the store, yes. And then from there,
So you manage the anchor.
Yes, I manage the anchor.
And did the industry change in terms of meat? When you began, there were a few regulations, I guess, and as you grew, more regulations. Did that affect the business?
Yes, it did. It boils down to one of those things. See, a lot of people don't understand why the meat department had sawdust. See, a piece of suet falls down, gets a little wet, gets slippy.
Oh, okay.
That was the reason of the sawdust. Then the city comes in and tells us, no, has too much bacteria. Of course, dirty floor has the bacteria. You mop, you clean, still has bacteria. But that was the rule right there.
So you had to keep that floor clean.
Yeah. So after they did away with it, then we had to keep that place clean.
So sawdust helped to keep the floor clean.
Yes, it does. Sure does.
But they don't do that anymore.
No, not anymore. They don't do it. The state of California, they still do it.
Really?
But Texas, no.
Okay, that's interesting. And so, so as you ran the meat, but you understood the whole grocery business, right?
Yes, right. Yes, I understood everything. As far as produce, produce has categories. The number 1 and number 2, they go by that. Same as the beef. The beef goes with prime, choice, and good. After that is, in those days, they call it utility.
Now let me ask you, because we grew up Sundays having lengua, tongue.
Yes.
That was it was cheap.
Yes.
Because why? People didn't use that a lot?
Not very many people did. Not in this part of the United States here, because we're a big majority of Hispanic or Mexican or whatever. Anyway, that's the reason. Not everybody, mainly the ones that use the tongue, it's Hispanic.
Yeah. So I'll tell people I used to grow up on beef tongue, and they say ooh, but I loved it. In fact, the other day I had some at a buffet, and I got too much of it. It's very rich. The other thing was tripas was for menudo. That was cheap too.
Yes.
Because that was a throwaway.
No, actually, well, at that time there was no other way of using it. See, now they got too many other uses for it now.
So tripe.
The tripe. Mm-hmm.
So tongue and tripe now cost a lot of money, but then they didn't.
No.
That's why we grew up on those things.
See, but what happened? Now a lot of people don't understand that. What happened here during the war? Everything was ration.
That's right.
Okay. Then when they started putting hamani to make it.
Oh, to extend it.
To extend it.
We're continuing our interview with Mr. Ricardo Cordova, who built a chain of grocery stores here in El Paso called Quality Foods. Mr. Cordova was part owner, and thank you for joining us for this segment. And Mr. Cordova was telling us that he was in the meat market, meat section of the business. We're talking about all these cuts of meat.
Yes.
And I remember, Mr. Cordova, that my mother used to tell us that they used to eat the brains cooked in the skull.
Yes.
And they'd bury them in the ground.
Yes.
And cook them with the embers in the ground. She says they were delicious. I would never eat that. But she said, did you ever have to cut up brains and serve brains, or?
Yes, we used to sell them. Of course, they did that at the packing houses. Now, when
Okay.
as time changed, they came. We had they put them in little tubs like that, and we hold the brain,
Wow.
complete brain. A lot of people say, for us to slice it for them.
Okay.
We're gonna slice it.
Wow.
They can be sliced just like.
So you became a part of people's families, being the meat man. So now you moved to starting the business.
Yes.
And you and your partner decided to, Mr.
Medina.
Mr. Medina started the business. Now, did you need you had an idea to open a store,
Yes.
and why open a store? I mean, you're doing okay, working for the company. Why did you want to start a business?
Well, it was something that's it's what you call an ambition to be able to progress more. Sure, I was making a comfortable living and all that. I had everything, but I also had that little extra step that I'm willing to take the risk on it.
Where did you get that from? Do you have an idea?
I don't have any idea where it came from or how I got it, but I started looking at some locations where I thought I could establish myself to a certain group of clientele that I could be able to. I've always felt that I would be successful.
What clientele was that?
Well, it was mostly in the current place section. For some reason or another, I've always had the idea that, because I saw some people in South El Paso and stuff like that, the meat industry was very small at that time over there because a lot of people used to travel to Juarez to get the meat.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Then in this section here, that's the reason why I wanted to get away from that section and get on this section.
Okay, so on the south side, people go to Juarez for meat.
Right.
But as you moved away from people that were frequenting Juarez, people would buy their meat here.
Right.
And that's the market you were looking at.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay. So you and Mr. Medina then saw a facility available, or?
Yes, actually, he had already been. He had already passed things around, And since he worked in the office while I was working in the meat cutter, then he saw the results that I had in the meat department for the company. He saw those results.
He was happy about that.
Yes. He saw the results,
so you could make the department move.
I think mainly that's what
Okay.
his whole idea was, be able to.
So you found a location
in Alabama and Porter, Wheeling and Vero.
Okay.
There was old. His name was Mr. Welch.
Oh yes, Welch.
Welch Groceries. Anyway, so we found indeed where he was trying. He had been trying to sell it for quite a time, So that's when we approached him, actually negotiate the price, and then from there, we went to a small business administration, and we didn't go straight to them. What we did, they told us to go through a lawyer. So we went through a lawyer so we can negotiate the loan exactly, We still had to have some of our money up front.
Was it a lot of money?
No, it wasn't. I would say, well, for nowadays, it's at that time it was a lot of money.
And so you each put some money in, and then the SBA.
SBA helped us with the other share. We had to have a little bit of cash. Actually, is what they wanted, cash. And actually, from there we take it to negotiate with the bank.
Wow.
Once the bank approved it, then
So what year was that you got the SBA loan? Because that was early in SBA's career. What year?
yes, they were just starting. It was 1970 when we started
Wow.
the whole process.
And so, what were the first challenges you met? So now you have the store, you have a big loan.
Yes, restocking the store was one of the things because we needed, actually, we needed capital. So all the sales had to go back into the.
So the store was
reach.
empty. You had to fill it.
I had to fill it. We had to fill it.
Did you have the money to do that?
Well, that's the thing of it is, we didn't have the exact amount, so we had to, whatever we sell, we turn around and buy more groceries.
So you had to cash the business and make. Did you pay yourselves at the time?
Not at that time. No, we went. I think it was about a month before, because of course, we needed to pay our bills at home too. Actually, I was very fortunate because my wife was working. His wife was not working, so we started. So actually, we started drawing some money out, not exactly what we wanted, but actually we started drawing what we needed. That's just what we needed. In other words, get along with what little possible we could, so we could put money into the business.
How long did it take that store to finally?
The finally paid off. Took us. How to do it exactly? I can't. I think it took us about 7 years.
Really, hard work.
Hard work.
Now, were you working back to the 13, 14 hours a day?
Yes, went right back to it.
And Sundays too?
And Sundays too.
So you didn't have much of a family life?
No, very, very little.
And so this store takes off and becomes successful there in the, my other grandmother lived just down the street from there on San Diego Street.
Yes.
So I know that store at that time. And so what made that store work?
Actually, what it made it work is when Piggly Wiggly began to close down the stores. Safeway closed first. See, when Piggly Wiggly closed, I forgot this. He was a big stockholder, because they own some stores also in Fort Worth, and in around East Texas. They had some more stores over there. The big stockholder, the main stockholder, can't remember his name anyway. He had an industry of refrigeration for grocery business and for other businesses. He had a refrigeration factory. So when he passed away, his son took over, because he didn't need the stores. All he needed was the factory.
Oh, I see.
So that's when he decided to sell the stores.
So you're a neighborhood grocery, but a big supermarket basically for a neighborhood.
It was a neighborhood.
But you made it work because you knew the neighborhood.
Right.
And because before the store wasn't doing well.
No.
When you bought it, but you made it do well.
We both. Yeah, well, we did make it.
Did you do something special?
No, it's just ordinary. We stayed actually competitive to other independent grocery stores.
Okay, you were an independent grocery store.
Mm-hmm. So we started.
Okay. And then you saw an opportunity for more growth.
For more growth came when Piggly Wiggly closed the stores down.
Okay.
There's a guy by the name of Todavía Vive, se llama Raúl Ramos. He helped us a lot. He helped us quite a bit. So we were able to get the next store open.
Where was that one?
There was the one on Piedras and it's not Mobile, it's
Or
I forgot.
Nashville or
Nashville, something like that. Anyways, that's when we got the other one.
Okay. And that one grew.
That one grew. That one grew.
So were you starting to make money now?
And then we started making money.
Okay.
Actually we stayed still below, so we were able to restock the stores. Same. Went through the same system.
And how long did that last for that store?
That didn't take too long. That took us about 3 years
Okay.
to get it.
So now after 9 years, you have 2 stores.
2 stores, right?
And then another chance came to buy another one?
Yes, that's and then when they saw that we were successful, then the bank began to offer us to come down and to look for something else.
So before that, the bank wasn't paying attention to you?
No. After that, then they paid attention. That's when we opened the one in Yandell and Newman.
Okay.
At that time, the Hydex.
Yes. Charlie had it.
Charlie.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He closed. They closed the store because they sold it to somebody else, but they finally had to close because they couldn't make a go of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when they sold it to us.
Okay.
Then we started.
So
From there, yes.
that was around 1980 then.
Yes, because they started. The thing about it was they started. There we were able to buy a little bit more. Say the produce department, a little bit more. Then the sales become coming in to us, make us offers.
So you got better pricing because you had more stores.
More stores, yes.
You had more attention. And had you gone to the banks before that and they wouldn't pay attention, or were they just started to come to you?
No, they started coming to us.
Okay, you weren't looking
Yes,
at them.
yes, because.
And had you paid the SBA loan off by then?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so you're free from that.
We were free
And
from
when you
that.
bought these new stores, did you have to borrow again?
No, we just.
You had the
yeah,
ability to buy those stores.
No, we were
Okay.
able to do it because we stayed low.
So how long was it before you then bought your 4th store?
Yeah, the 4th store was after that. It didn't take very much longer. I think it took us about another 3 years. I think it was 2 years.
And which was the 4th store?
The 4th store was the one on Piedras and Freeway.
Yeah. Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
was
that also-
the Abrahams?
Yeah. Okay. Right.
That's when we went in there.
Okay.
That one we did fair with it. Wasn't exactly a booming store, but we did fair because he had established clientele
Yeah.
that came in and out all the time. So actually it was a steady, small income, but it was a steady.
Okay. So you had 4 stores now,
The 4th store, yes.
and you grew some more.
Yes.
Which was your 5th store?
The 5th store, we went out to Socorro on Alameda and Moon.
Oh, okay. Okay. And was that a store that was
It
existing?
was, no, we had to build in new store. Everything was new.
You saw the market there in Socorro,
Yes.
so you built a store. Now that
So-
cost money.
Yeah, it cost money. Yes, yeah. But then that's when actually the guy that owned the property came to us, and he said, "I'll do the building. I'll make the building, and you put in all the necessities you need inside."
And so you leased the building.
I leased the building. We would be leased the building from him.
Okay.
See, he owns the whole.
Yeah.
It was like a small shopping center.
So you didn't have to borrow to build a building.
No. No.
You didn't borrow at all.
No, we didn't borrow it.
So was that a plan of yours not to borrow?
No, actually, in a way, this is the way they put it. This actually is that, okay, the bank does come in. Right? They come in, yes, okay. You put everything up. We'll pay it up front. Then from there, we're going to start, putting your money in there. Then from there, they get their payment. And actually, that's the way they work.
So you used the banks for leverage?
Yes.
Okay. And then now you have 5 stores, and how long? Then you went to a 6th store, right?
Yes.
Which was the 6th store?
The one on Donovan and Sunland.
Okay, that was yours. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And when did you get that? About 85?
85.
Okay. And so now you had 6 stores. That's what you had, right? 6
Right.
stores.
Mhm.
Quality Foods had 6 stores.
Yes, and at that time things got better. Then we actually started. I left stopped cutting meat, so I started more supervising than anything else, and pricing and all of that. And then from there, we were able to build a little warehouse where we could buy a trailer of merchandise. Say the first movie we want to say actually is, say, for instance, paper towels, all the toilet paper, stuff like that. We started buying it by truckloads.
Get a better price.
And this, and actually, and if you put it on an ad, they help you with that too.
Is grocery business a hard business?
It is in a way, and I advise anybody that wants to go into a grocery business to have a capital.
But you did it without capital.
Yes, but that's why when somebody talks to me about opening the grocery store, grocery business, have some capital to back you up.
Why?
But they won't have to go through hardship like we did.
So you went through how many years of hardship then?
Well, altogether, I say we went about 8 years.
Okay, before you really started.
We really started looking.
Was it? Let me ask you this: was it for you? Was it very lucrative, or was it just substantial, just good?
It was good. In a way, looking back and all that, they were very enjoyable years.
What did you enjoy most about?
Most of all, when you see, it's just like putting a plant, and you begin to see it grow, and then you see that you're that little flower. Then you look at it. That actually all the effort, all the sacrifices, are coming to you.
What kinds of problems did you have in growing the business?
Problems, we had health problems, lawsuits, because they see you progress, they see you there, they see that you're front. And you see a lot of people in all kinds of businesses where they slip and fall down. That's the first thing comes to my mind. We had some people come in, and actually they didn't fall, but they claim they did and all that. But you still got to make a report. Then it's up to the insurance or whatever, whoever's handling those personal things. They come in and to investigate exactly what, if anybody saw them, what they saw and all that. It's really
Did you get hit with big lawsuits at times?
We got hit with quite a few of them. I don't know how many they have. Actually, the insurance, but of course, the insurance keeps on going up.
So you had to pay a lot of insurance.
A lot of insurance, right? It is.
And employees, were they a problem?
They were a very problem.
Why?
Well, some of them are heavy drinkers, and that heavy drinking actually, they steal from you. Some of them do. I don't say all of them, but some of them. We had some very good, honest workers, but there were some in between there that they were.
How do you control for that?
You just have to take a chance every day.
And just watch?
Just watch everything you can, everything. That's why you got to take inventory. You got to inventory it. Especially the meat department has to be, and the produce department, those are the ones you have to inventory every month at least.
Really?
To find out exactly where you stand.
So keeping an inventory is part of a control?
It is part of the control, right?
And so what advice would you give somebody building a business, whether it's grocery or another business, when it comes to employees? What's your perception about?
I would actually, if they're skilled workers, if they're already skilled workers, they know the business that you're going into, don't worry too much. If you have somebody that's going to learn the business, then it's when the headache starts.
So hire somebody that knows the business.
Yes, somebody that knows the business that you're going to, or has a notion of the business you're in.
So, so you operate the business, you and your partner, up until the point you decide to sell your part. Why did you do that?
Well, first of all, I was getting up in years. Then my wife wasn't very well. And then from there, she wanted to travel. She liked to travel. She enjoyed traveling. So she felt it was time for me to go on, and so she wanted to travel. She wanted to get out.
So your wife had a lot of say about your business.
In a way, yes. In a way, yes. And I actually believe I took it from this point of view. You know, I say, okay, I worked so many years already. Then since the business gave us the opportunity for me to travel, be able to travel, then we decided to go ahead and travel.
So you worked in the business 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
almost 50 years, right?
Almost, yes.
In the business, and so you sold your part of the business.
Yes.
And what was that like? I mean, all of a sudden now you don't own a business anymore.
I used to come into the store, just go into the office and stuff like that, and talk things over. But after that, then I just stay away, because actually the thing of it is that you start visiting the old business and you see a lot of mistakes that they're making. That's no good for you.
So you had to stay away.
I just have to stay away.
That must have been hard.
Very hard, because I can go into another grocery business, another grocery store, and I can see the mistakes. And it's their business, not mine.
Yeah, but this was, but you were already out, so you were.
Yes, I'm already out, but in fact, I always felt that I was related to it.
So in the process, had you thought about building the business so that you could build assets? Was that part of your mind, or was that just a result?
That was a result, actually. You know, I never dreamed we were going to be able to expand and be able to work that way, which was very good. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, now I sit back and
So what was the secret of your success?
the only thing I can tell you is that you go into the business, you know the business, and go with all the confidence that you have in yourself. Have confidence in yourself.
Well, where did you get that confidence?
Well, actually, I saw a lot of the one that I saw actually too was my uncle, mi padrino Kiko Hernandez. Anyway, I saw a lot from him also, and I saw.
What did he do?
He worked for the cement plant, Portland cement plant. He worked there for many years, and then from there he went to work at the railroad. But he was one of these type that knew how to do everything.
And he was successful.
He was successful.
And you looked up to him.
Yes, I sure did. Because he was able to do, if you needed a room to be plastered, he could do it.
So you were a hard worker.
And
you knew how to work.
yes.
But you also had ambition.
That's right. Ambitious is one of the things that you got to have with you.
And so you kept plugging away, because it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't easy.
But you didn't mind that. You kept doing it?
I kept doing it.
Why?
Well, first of all, because I didn't want to, I thought I'd feel real bad if I was to fail.
You didn't want to fail.
I didn't want to fail. I wanted to go.
So success was very important to you?
Very important.
Because you didn't want to fail.
No, I didn't want to fail.
So you kept going.
I kept going.
Not because you wanted success, but because you didn't want to fail?
No, because I didn't want to fail. I wanted success. That's what I was looking for. In other words, 90% of my ambition was to be successful.
Okay. And you found it.
Yes, I found it.
So what is it like to have a successful life?
It's very satisfactory. You feel at ease, and whatever you got to do, you have confidence to do it. It gives you a lot of.
Well, you certainly have a wonderful story. Just hard work and a desire, and go through whatever you go through. But you partnered right, and the partnership worked well, and you built a good business for your family.
Yes, yes. Thank God I have.
And your legacy now.
Yes.
Now you.
I can relax.
And you're enjoying your life.
I'm enjoying my life. Yes.
And what do you do with your life now?
Well, right now, I'm a little bit. This hip is bothering me a lot. But to me, a couple of years ago, I was still well. I took a trip to Alaska.
Really?
I took a cruise to Alaska, and I stayed 3 weeks out there.
Oh, wow. You enjoyed that.
I enjoyed every bit of it. Just look around and see exactly what.
So you're still enjoying life?
Yes, very much.
But you enjoyed life all the way through?
All the way through, yes. I just like anything else.
But you went through struggles?
Yeah. You hit the wall this way, and then you go around this way. Then you go and meet another wall, you go hit it, and go around this way.
So you learned?
Yes.
So you're not afraid of hitting the wall?
No.
You went around?
I went around. I hit it once, and then the next time I came back, I went around.
And you found ways?
And I found a way. Found a way. Thank God. Gave me the courage.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic, Mr. Cordova. I really, really appreciate you sharing your story with us. And I really enjoy visiting with you, of course, because our families were close.
Yes.
And but I never knew the business side of you, so
No.
it's good. It's good for me, and I trust that our viewers enjoyed that very much.
I really hope somebody listening out there will get something good out of it.
Good, good. Well, thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Mr. Cordova, for your time. And we hope that this was educational and entertaining. And keep in touch and watch our next presentation of Hispanic Biz Stories of Success. Thank you very much. Good day.
Thank you.